can't believe the Audi's completely trashed.
I can't believe you drove it at Daytona with no coolant in it.
If you wouldn't have wrecked the clutch, it'd be fine.
If you knew how to drive, it would have been fine.
Bloody killed by Quattro. Oi! I'm arresting you for murdering my car, you...
So what now then, go?
Pub.
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 Oh, bugger.
The RS2 is a very sought after car in Europe and all over the world. It makes a lot of jam, and that's what these gears came from. Those are like unobtainium, by the way, those cars. It was an Autobahn car.
This is easy, like...
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yeah. The biggest concern for racers is fires, and we want to eliminate any fire hazard that we can underneath the hood.
As one of your YouTubers commented on the video, I did make a small error.
That will get bolted to this goodness, but you can't see this. This is in a different episode. That clutch used to be red, completely red. Now it's like paint burnt right off. I'm kind of interested to see what's going on there. Let's take a look at this goodness. Still not even that bad. Okay, I was expecting a lot worse. I think we're still gonna send it out and get McLeod to take a look at it. This is actually the engine block that came out of an 07 Silverado that I swapped the engine out of. I brought this block over to the machine shop. I said put some crosshatch in it, check it out, deck it, because we're gonna run some boost on it and we'll throw some heads on it. So we built this thing very quick and very inexpensively, but it already had a gouge in it right from day one. And now I knew that this engine was in bad shape. So I figured I'd tear it apart and take a look and see exactly what happened. So a lot of score marks on the pistons. This compression was down to 90 PSI, 90, 90, 90, 120, and 120 all the way across on the other side. It should be around 150. And now we went with an aluminum block because we wanted to save the weight. For now, I know that the camshaft is okay. The lifters are fine. There's no marks on them. It was basically just rings and pistons and the crankshaft that need to be new. Now that we know what clutch we need and how to make it fit, we'll probably end up with a new flywheel and a new clutch assembly. We'll end up with a new block, and then we'll end up porting the turbos. What I'd really like to see is about 700, 650, 700 torque to the tires on this thing, and then I feel we have a really good mid-range torque monster that is not gonna blow up because we're throwing 1,000 horsepower at it. We're not stamping axles constantly. We're having a reliable race car. All right, we're here at Northtown Machine with Scott. How's it going?
Good, good.
All right, so we got this brand new block, but you still wanna look at it?
Yeah, I still want to look at it just to make sure everything's perfect. From factory, the squareness of the block might not be right. Or,
so squareness, you're talking?
The height distance from the center line of the crank to the top deck of the surface. And we'll put that in our machine, and technically that's blueprinting. So we'll make sure that the block is square and the deck height from left to right are both the same.
Okay.
I still bolt together all the mains, check the housing bores just to make sure everything's perfect. Don't want any surprises, and that will also help for us for oil pressure and picking the right bearing for your application.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll start on balancing. So what I'll do is we're getting new pistons, so I'll start balancing the small end and the big end of the rod. We are changing over to ARP studs, so we'll torque this all up, make sure our housing bore is all right. They're cracked rods, there's nothing you can do, but we can actually get a 1/1000 overbearing if I'm not happy with the dimensions. And then we work on the balancing. Once the balancing is all done for the rod and pistons, we send the rotating assembly out to an outside source to have the crank balanced to our numbers.
Okay, and you need the flywheel on the crankshaft for that, so
Yep,
then
flywheel.
And the front.
And harmonic
Yeah,
balancing.
Okay,
Yep.
right on. And then after that, we'll see you back in the shop, I guess. There's not a whole lot that we can do right now.
Nope.
And then we'll go from there. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Kitty, what do you think? So the biggest problem we had with the Audi was the turbo return lines, the drains, all that stuff. Our catch can system, our setup just wasn't working. So instead of replacing one part of it to see what was the problem, we're gonna rip it all out and replace it with bigger stuff.
So this is this is our catch can that the turbo drains in, and I put it sideways because we've got the two turbos, one turbo here, one turbo here. So they drain into here, and then that goes into this line. What we're gonna do is move the pump down to here. I think we've got enough room here, maybe. We're gonna get rid of this steel line. You can see you got a little kink here. We can route it nicely around the exhaust here and then go right to new coolers. I think the turbos will be the first thing that we get back. So then we can make a much larger catch can. So we went to Oshcut website. They can laser cut you anything. They're gonna tell you to download Fusion 360. It's a design software, 3D. And we thought we'd start off with something simple. I know I can cut this with a grinder and whatnot, but we're past that. We're gonna try and make a legit race car now. So we ended up with something like this. Nice and straightforward, but we're gonna turn that into this with another plate that covers that up. For now, I need to wait until I have the turbos back, so I know exactly where to drill my holes for the fittings for the drains underneath the turbos. That'll be a specific episode on the turbos themselves. We talked to Borg Warner about the turbos. They told us to do some stuff to make them match our engine much better. I'm very excited about that, but you have to stick around for another video for that. Really, really cool science behind everything. We accidentally maybe made a supercar. Here we go. All right, I'm really happy with all the upgrades that are happening. I think we can actually end up at a track and not get laughed out. Like, we've got a legit race car.
Almost legit. We need to upgrade these trash coolers. Get rid of the Ford parts, right? Someone say coolers?
Yeah, we got some coolers.
We got the grassroots boys to come give us a hand.
What's up? Nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
You guys told me 6 feet, 10 feet. You said, you know what, just bring the whole freaking roll.
Yeah, that's a very stiff hose and steel braid on the inside. Nice.
Yeah. It's good for fuel, good for oil.
Whatever.
Pretty much, yeah.
If it can do
cooling.
fuel, it can do pretty much anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 19 row, we got 25 row.
That's amazing.
These are nice.
Yeah.
No, these are all lifetime warranty too. So anything that's to do with cooling or lines is a lifetime warranty.
That's really
So,
nice.
I mean, as long as you don't smash it.
We got rid of our Ford and Dodge power steering coolers that took quite a bit of abuse. You think it's okay to mount the other one right behind it?
You will get a little bit of heat soak, but it should be, like, if you can give any air gap, it's going to be better
Okay.
between the two. Otherwise, you will get some heat soak as you get through each cooler.
So should we put the turbo in front because there's less heat soak and then the power steering behind it, or just experiment?
If I had to guess, you're probably better with your power steering cooler first,
Yeah?
because you've got a tiny little reservoir and you got really big tires.
Okay, power steering in the front, and I think we'll leave a little gap, but then we'll put the other one right behind it. I started working with the lines that the guys from Grassroot dropped off, and super easy. If you go on their website, they've got all the sizes, they got all the fittings that we need. So I ordered a bunch extra. Very simple. Unscrew. It's only a 2-piece fitting. So after you cut your line nice and clean, you can pop the nut end on one end and just kind of push and twist it on until you see it right up against the back there. And then just basically shove this on, twist it. Make sure that the threads catch. Once you get about that far, you're gonna have to use wrenches. It doesn't really get much easier than this. Once you get that far, it doesn't hurt to put it in the vise. And right about there is about as far as you want to go. That is never coming off. And that was a big issue on the Audi, was our leaks. We put the car together with a lot of barb fittings and hose clamps, and we had a lot of little dribbles and leaks. We definitely spent a lot of time redoing all of our hoses and lines with the AND fittings, just to make sure that everything is an AND fitting and is not gonna leak. A biggest concern for racers is fires. And we want to eliminate any fire hazard that we can underneath the hood. In doing so, we're also going to block this section off, and we're going to weld the adapter through there along with our AND fittings for the fuel lines, so that the engine compartment is completely sealed off. Behind here is another compartment. We'll seal that again too. And then we've got 2 layers of fire protection against us. We've replaced all of our coolers now as well. Grassroots sent us coolers. One of these is the transmission cooler. This one is for the power steering and the Hydro Boost. And then these 2 coolers are for the returns from the turbo, and they end up back into the oil pan.
Quick Latch sent us over these latches to give them a try out. I can already tell you they're better because I hated these stupid arc clips. We'd lose them all the time. You'd scratch stuff. They were just a pain in the you-know-what. So already off the hop, here's the original arc clip style. And then we got our quick latch style. Already looks like 10 times better. They're super easy to use. We got the push button one, so you just push the button, it pops off. Done. So we're gonna get rid of that garbage. We're just gonna throw this on. I still have to drill holes in the hood to accept this diameter, and then I'm not gonna put any thread lock on it just yet because I'm gonna have to adjust my heights so it sits right. But for now, we can at least throw these on. But already, you can see they can take the angle. Boom. Let's have a look what she looks like on the front. That's not bad. Way better than before.
We're back on our O1E. Peter came back, said he was gonna offer a little bit more help.
As one of your YouTubers commented on the video, I did make a small error. So I'm not perfect, but I do try hard. So I'm here just fixing the thrust washer I put in backwards.
Oh.
So that's located right here by 6th gear. So we'll just take the tailstock off, swap it around.
We'll fix the thrust washer, and we're gonna install a short shifter. Here we go. Oh, so this one, right, so this has a groove in it. That's not a big deal. That was what, 8 seconds? Except, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Peter, we got a problem. She's broken.
All right, we need another one.
We need another one.
So here's the thrust washer that was inserted by me backwards. One of the viewers found it in the previous video. So you'll see here that really should sit with the cup facing the circlip. However, upon putting it down, you'll see that it has split under compression when it was inserted the wrong way.
It is nice actually that you guys are watching and paying attention. I cannot believe that somebody caught that. But we'll get this taken care of, and we'll see you in like 8 seconds. Star wipe, and it's done.
Just like that.
Okay, so we got our transmission back from Drive Sport. We originally had this one built by Advanced Automotion to handle 800 foot-pounds of torque. We put a limited slip in there, and figured while we're at it, might as well take it apart, see if there was anything wrong. There was tiny filings in there, Peter said, but nothing to get too concerned about. We took it apart anyway, couldn't find anything wrong with it, but when we put it back together again, it shifted a lot better. So something might have just been binding. To make it shift a little nicer, we got rid of our sloppy old shifter that we grabbed out of a scrapyard somewhere. We got this Coolworks short shifter. So that should help shift it much nicer as well. That will get bolted to this goodness. But you can't see this. This is in a different episode. Now that we have a new engine, transmission, turbos, and clutch, we might actually have a legit race car. So Aaron suggested that we get some proper gear, safety gear for it as well. We replaced our $100 Jag seats that flop all over the place, replaced them with some Sparco Evos. We have safety certified Sparco seat belts. Once we get the seat bolted in properly, we can mount those so we know exactly where we want those. We got a Sparco quick attach steering wheel, even though they're probably common in Europe. A adapter that fits a 30-year-old Audi is not that common here. We got that installed and very straightforward, bolted on, no fabricating whatsoever.
Going in the midget. Nah, she's too fat. It's like 6 inches. I don't know. It's quite long. Nope. But if I didn't have a transmission, it'd fit.
Someday you'll realize that nothing's going in the midget. Not me, not you, not that seat.
I am not changing the original dimensions of the car. It's just a lunatic.
All right, so we've got our Sparco seats to replace our cheapy Jags. These are much safer, lighter, and better built. The Evo is about 2 inches narrower than the Evo 2, so that will be the passenger seat. That will be the driver's seat. Are nice in the fact that they are able to go up and down and tilt forward and back if we want to. We spent a lot of money on doing things properly with the engine, clutch, and turbos, and Holley system and whatnot. So I figure let's go to V&R and grab some I-beams that came from a transport truck trailer. These were off a 53-footer, nice and light. We wouldn't want you guys getting disappointed that we're just buying all new parts. If I get T-bone from the side, I've got an I-beam roughly where the seat is. I can maybe tie the drive shaft hoop into the I-beams, connect the two I-beams together. We got a nice solid floor that doesn't weigh anything. So I took my CAD drawings, which is my cardboard that was accurately drawn, and got the profile, copied the profile, and then bent up this plate to match the profile on the I-beam. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? We'll get Vince to weld that solid. Then we will bolt it down. What we'll do is we'll drill and thread the top plate and stick a thread of bolt through, Loctite that in place, and then we can take the nuts off, and then we can pick up the seat and move it forward and back if we want to do that. I do have to run my wiring harness through the other one, so I only have the plates on the inside there. We'll do a little plate just over the first hump on the bottom there, and that will be super secure as well. We're gonna put the shifter in because the transmission is in place, and that will allow me to build my box for the shifter housing, and then that will look nice and pretty. When that's all together, we'll give this thing a good bath, clean it out, mount the seats, and it'll start looking like a race car. Here we go. So that's welded. It doesn't weld nice at all. Because it's dirty and oxidized, but he still managed to lay pretty good beads on it. But again, we're bolting that to the floor. Not so much strength to keep the seat down, but to keep the car kind of rigid side to side. Now he's welding a new shifter cover for us. I put the shifter in a better spot, nice and close to the steering wheel now, so it's a quick grab from the shifter to the steering wheel. You don't like welding this new shit, do you? You want me to keep giving you old transport truck I-beams, or you want me to give you...
Newer stuff's preferable, but can be done.
We'll probably have to lengthen the rod a little bit on the shifter itself. So we'll probably end up cutting this, and then maybe even putting threaded rod in there and making it adjustable. I don't know, but either way, we'll probably cut it and weld it together right here. So, again, it's about 10:30 at night. Both put in a full day. He's working at the end, just helping us out at night. We'll put that shifter in tomorrow and then keep carrying on. Here we go. So when we were on the chassis dyno, we thought for fun we would unhook our turbos and just let them suck air from the back seat rather than through the scoop. And we actually lost 100 horsepower because it's actually kind of crazy to think how much air that engine actually uses. So that got me thinking, if the air filters on the side here are taking in all that air, that's air that's not going over our intercooler and our radiator, keeping everything nice and cold. So we put side scoops in, and then I thought, if it rains or we got snow or mud or whatever, we don't know exactly what we're doing with this car, it could suck in a lot of air. So instead I went to Tuesley, grabbed more of our V6 Vortec 4.3 liter air intakes. We figure we'll just leave these here in case it's crappy conditions. If it's crappy conditions, we can't use the full power anyway. If it's nice and clean and we're on the track, we can use the side scoops, and all we have to do is move our intake pipe from the top down to the bottom. Our pipe was long enough already for these, so it have no issue reaching the both of them at the same time. The intakes are offset slightly, so this side fit perfect, the other side touched each other, so then I had to make new covers for this to raise it up a little bit because they were touching on the other side. Also, another issue we had was, if you look at our radiator and intercooler setup here in the front, there's a lot of air that's actually able to bypass the radiator and intercooler. I had some foam down there, but a better solution to that is I just bent this up real quick. This basically strengthens our side. Goes in nicely like that. We'll rivet that in place. Doesn't that look nice? Bam, done. What this allows us to do, when we actually have time to play with the car a little bit, we'll start putting our ribbons on to see where the airflow goes. And now that we've got air coming from the side, more air going over the radiator, we can probably drop our scoop a little bit, which decreases our air resistance because we're that much more aerodynamic. Then we can get a big wing for it. Oh, so much good stuff happening. Here we go.